So the topic for today's workshop will be why college? And the main question that we'll be keeping in mind today is what are goals that motivate me and how does this connect to college? Also, like if you have any questions or comments in between, like feel free to like unmute yourself or like chat it in. Okay. So before going over the workshop overview, I'm gonna take a minute to introduce myself. So hi, my name is Amanda. I'm a sophomore at Columbia studying civil engineering. And a fun fact about myself is that I work at a battery lab. I'm also the coach that you've been texting. So it's nice to like kind of see you guys. So now we're gonna like do an overview of the workshop. So we've already completed the welcome and icebreaker. So now we're gonna talk about what's exciting about college by exploring reasons people choose to go to college. Then we'll talk about common concerns that people have about college, like how much work applications are, balancing priorities in college, adjusting to a new environment and the cost of college. Oh, hi, Caitlin and Marwa. Welcome to the meeting. But yeah, as I was saying, after that, we're going to reflect on personal motivations for attending college. And lastly, we're going to have a closing. Alrighty. Okay, so today we have a $25 raffle card that you can win, and it's a tango card, so you can spend it at like a bunch of places like Amazon. But basically, you can earn up to 3 raffle tickets today, depending on how many of the things listed here you do. And they're going to be like a lot of opportunities for you guys to like reflect and like share your thoughts on the topics that we talk about today. And the winner will be announced after the workshop via email/text. You also get 1 point towards our annual grand prize raffle for every workshop you attend, simply for showing up. And there will be 3 winners of our grand raffle prize, and the largest prize will be $100. So since you guys are here, like you guys already have 1 point, so that's good. Okay. Alrighty, so in this section, we're going to be talking about some of the reasons why people choose to go to college, as well as some of the top concerns that students commonly have. The main goal is for you guys to like get more information about like some of the things you might already be thinking about. We'll also start to think about like what kinds of college environments you're looking for, since there are like so many options for you to choose from. And soon you'll be making decisions about what kind of college is right for you. Okay. So now we're gonna transition over to Jamboard. I'm not sure if you guys have experience using it or not, but I'm gonna share the link in the chat, and the Jamboard will basically just be yeah, Sarah shared the link in the chat. We'll just be discussing reasons why people choose to go to college and also some things that like intimidate people about college. If there are overlapping ideas, feel free to do like a +1 on the comment or like further elaborate. It's totally fine to have like multiples of like the same idea. So I'm gonna stop sharing my screen so I can pull that up. Okay. I see that one person has posted they go to get an education/degree. Yeah, that's completely valid. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to add to this page? I know I wanted to go to college to experience dorm life. Someone else wrote to be independent and enjoy college activities like clubs and sports. Yeah, that's college is like the place for that. And yeah, and there are like a bunch of clubs and sports. So okay, and then someone also wrote, people go to college so that they can be suitable for jobs. Yeah, I guess, yeah, because like a lot of like jobs require you to have like a college degree, so I guess that's like a valid reason as well. Does anyone else have something else they'd like to share? And also, welcome to the people that came in. We're currently doing our Jamboard activity, so Sarah's gonna like resend the link to that, and whenever you guys are ready, you can just like start making posts on the Jamboard about like some of the reasons people decide to go to college. So far we've had multiple people talking about like college being the place you go to get a degree so that you can like find jobs. But okay. Someone else wrote to make connections with people to help me find greater opportunities for job. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of people here talking about jobs, which is completely valid. And I know that like a lot of colleges do like career fairs, so definitely like the place to be if you were looking to advance your career like that. I'm gonna move on to like the next Jamboard, which is what are some things that intimidate people about college? I know something that intimidated me was being away from home. And that's kind of silly because I like live in New York City and I go to school in New York City, but that was still a bit scary for me. Someone wrote midterms and finals. Yes, yes. I'm actually like in the midst of midterms slash finals season, and it's really taking a toll on me. But like besides midterms and finals, like what are some things that people are scared about? Someone wrote the amount of money I have to pay in the future from student loans. Yeah, that's a completely valid concern. Like financials can definitely be super intimidating, but hopefully we'll be able to equip you with like the proper tools and resources to kind of like find ways to mitigate that through like Let's Get Ready in our workshops. Someone says having to make new friends and dorm life. Yeah, okay, low-key, like that was also really scary to me at first because I went to like a really, really big high school, so no one from my high school really went to Columbia. It was quite scary, but I'm sure like you'll be able to find your people in college. A common concern for students is that applications are just a lot of work. Unfortunately, applications are going to be a lot of work. Like I remember like within a single application, you could be writing up to like 4 supplements. So it's definitely a lot to do, but we're going to be discussing some strategies you guys can do to like make the process a lot less stressful. Okay, we're now gonna like do a quick poll to get a sense of how everyone is feeling about different tasks that they'll have to complete. And so that you guys can also just like hear from each other. So Sarah will now set up the poll, and there might be options that don't apply to some of you guys. Like if you guys are planning on applying to community college. But if that's the case, just like try to choose from the options that do apply to you. Okay, right now it's a tie between the personal statement and the SAT slash ACT, which is completely valid. Okay, so Sarah has just ended the poll, and 67% of you guys said that the personal statement was the scariest part of the application for you guys. And then there were like there was one vote for filling out application forms and another vote for the SAT slash ACT, which is completely valid. I feel like the personal statement can be like super tricky, but within like the next few workshops, hopefully we can be able to help you guys like craft a really strong personal statement. Alrighty. So to start, yes, applications are a lot of work, and it's completely normal to feel intimidated by parts of the process. For those who are applying to community college, applications might be simpler since you don't have to write a personal statement, but like filling out the FAFSA and other paperwork will be the same, and it's still going to take up a lot of time. So it's super important to leverage your support systems. So let's just take a minute to reflect on who's a part of our college application support system and you can feel free to like come off of mute or like chat in some examples. I know when I was applying to college, my parents were definitely part of my support system. But yeah, I think I'm gonna give you guys like a minute, so feel free to chat.
Wouldn't counselors also be part of the support system?
Yeah. Thank you for participating, Marwa. But some of the examples that we included on the slides are guidance counselors and teachers, family and friends, and also Let's Get Ready, because Let's Get Ready is here to help students break down the application process step by step, and we'll be hosting workshops on some of these topics. We'll send you guys tip sheets, guides, and other resources, and you guys can like feel free to text me whenever you have a question. Yeah, but lastly, if you start breaking up the application process right now and take things step by step, you'll be a lot less stressed. Okay, so the goal is for you guys to just like start to get more comfortable moving into a more self-reflective space over the coming months. And this could mean like turning the spotlight inward and asking yourself meaningful questions like who are you, what do you believe in, and why do you do the things you do? So what might self-reflection look like? It might be asking yourself questions like who am I? Might be acknowledging your strengths, might be asking yourself questions like, what is my life? What do I do? What are my priorities? Or it could just be, recognizing that this is going to be a fun adventure. But reflection is some of the most important work you'll do because ending up at a college that's a good fit for you will set you up to be happy and finish college, which is always the end goal. And we're going to help guide you guys through this process by giving you things to consider. So, for example, soon we'll be asking you guys to think about like what kinds of colleges interest you guys. Great. So now we're going to move on to concern number 2, which is balancing priorities might be hard. So addressing the challenges of balancing priorities is important, and we'll be diving into strategies to navigate this issue in the upcoming section. It's a really common concern, and we'll work together to explore ways to manage and find balance effectively.
Yeah.
It's only my third day out here. I don't know.
Yo.
Okay, so that was a TikTok. College is a whole new ball game from high school with different expectations and environments. It's okay if you're feeling a mix of emotions like anxiety, fear, excitement. They're all completely normal. Balancing academics, fun, work, and family can be challenging, but it's a shared concern. I know that I definitely felt that way. And adjusting to college takes time. It's important to remember that everyone's journey is unique. I personally really struggled with balancing priorities. Like it took me an entire semester before I really started feeling comfortable with my schedule. And even now, as a sophomore, like it took me a while to come back to that like college mindset after summer. So yeah. Okay, so here are some strategies for adjusting to college life. Um, the first one is to give yourself time to adapt to a new world. The second one is to create a support network on and off campus using college campus resources and also just like deciding on your priorities. So college life means a unique balance. Academics, self academics for the most part like demand self-motivation, so that requires a lot of like choices and it requires a lot of prioritizing on your end, and creating new habits might be necessary. Exploring new forms of community and self-support can definitely be helpful, but it's just like a significant adjustment, so it's important to be patient with yourself and just to like recognize that this transition period is entirely normal and that there are numerous people and resources ready to assist you, like myself and Sarah, and Let's Get Ready. Okay. So once you're in college, who might you be able to go to for advice about balancing academics with fun and other responsibilities? Let's take a minute to think about that. Okay, awesome. So Caitlin said my older cousins who are in college, and then Eric said your guidance counselor. And those are completely valid. Yeah, my older cousins actually also really helped me when I was applying to colleges. So I'm glad that they're also helping you, Caitlin. And yeah, as mentioned before, like your guidance counselor's job is literally to help you. So I think that like we should all be taking advantage of that a little bit more. Um, okay, so we said upperclassmen, professors. Oh wait, Marwa said older brother. Awesome. Okay. But we said upperclassmen, professors, academic advisors, the school counseling center, staff at identity-based centers on campus, let's get ready coaches and tip sheets. Yeah. So while the thought of balancing responsibilities in college is bound to bring up like valid feelings of anxiety, it's also important to remember that you're not the first to be scared and you definitely will not be the last. And this means that you'll have plenty of resources and people willing to guide you through this process who have gone through it themselves. But yeah, hopefully you guys can reach out to like one of the people on the screen for help at the beginning and throughout your college journey. Okay, so now we're going to talk about valuable resources on campus. So obviously, colleges put money into a variety of resources that support students, improve quality of life, and help students succeed academically. And these include workshop facilities, tutoring centers, academic advising, student health center, and also the mental health services. Yeah, like I'm always at my college's tutoring center, and hopefully you guys will also learn to like utilize these resources and realize that like there shouldn't be any shame attached to using them. Okay, so now we're going to talk about deciding on your priorities in college. So a lot of people think to themselves like, why do I need to know what my priorities in college are? Because it'll obviously be academics. And oftentimes we think of balancing priorities as kind of being like an equal 50-50 split between academics and your personal life. But this may not be the case for a lot of students. A lot of students have to work. They're involved in activities outside of the classroom. Like I work at a battery lab. And you may also just want other things that you want to like get out of college. Like um like gaining professional experience to improve your resume, building relationships with potential mentors, creating community and lifelong relationships, and also just like having new experiences and expanding your horizons. So, what's one thing from this list or beyond it that you really want to get out of your college experience? And like, feel free to chat it in or unmute yourself, or like also PM me if you're like shy. I'm gonna give us like a minute to do that. Okay, so someone said in the chat, building relationships with mentors and teachers is one of my goals. That's awesome. Does anyone else have something they'd like to share? Getting a lot of different experiences. Okay, that's valid. And then Eric wrote, meeting new people and befriending them. Yeah, that's awesome. I know one of my priorities in college was also like building relationships with mentors. I feel like that's why and how I'm like working in a battery lab. So if anyone has questions about that, like you can also ask me. Okay, so now we're gonna head into our 5-minute break. I think before we left, there was a question in the chat. What was the most difficult part for building relationships with mentors and teachers? I think the most difficult part was just like probably having the courage to do that in the first place. Like, I feel like I'm a pretty shy person, so like even just like going to office hours to talk about stuff that wasn't in like lecture was a bit intimidating for me. And in terms of like finding like my research mentor, like that involved a lot of cold emailing, and that was also a bit intimidating for me. But once you get over that like hump and realize that like no one's here to judge you, like it was pretty sail smoothing after that. Yeah. Okay, awesome. So now we're going to talk about concern number 3, which is being in a new environment. So college entails not just an academic shift, but also a significant social and emotional transition. So many students grapple with leaving behind family, friends, and their high school community, and some are eager to forge new connections and explore beyond their current environment. If staying close to home is your preference, like it was for me, you can consider like commuting or like seeking schools in a familiar setting within your city. On the other hand, if you're drawn to something different despite the initial intimidation, that's also perfectly fine. Each person navigates their academic journey uniquely, and it's okay to feel a variety of emotions or have different aspirations. Okay, so we all have different desires and needs. The environment that is right for each of us will vary depending on our goals, values, identities, life experiences, personality, preferences, physical and or mental health. So every person's individual journey shapes their preferences and needs when it comes to choosing the right educational environment. So let's acknowledge that even like individuals who share commonalities with us may seek different things entirely, in terms of like their academic institution. Social, emotional, and physical needs vary greatly among students, so what resonates as a priority for one person might not hold the same significance for another. And if you feel a sense of being other in high school, or your identity was marginalized in ways that didn't feel good to you, like researching colleges that actively support and cater to specific communities, such as those that are queer friendly, accommodate disabilities, or are undocu friendly, can help you build like a stronger support network and a sense of belonging in an environment that values and respects your identity. Okay. So in college, you'll have the opportunity to choose a place that aligns with your preferences and needs in terms of social, emotional, and physical aspects. So to help envision what our ideal college community might look like, let's reflect on our past school experiences. So we're now going to be broken up into breakout rooms of about 2 to 3 for 6 minutes. And within the breakout rooms, we'll be reflecting on the questions on the slide. And this is just like an opportunity for you guys to begin imagining what you want your college community to look and feel like. So Sarah's gonna do that now. And we'll be back in 6. HSRs. It's okay. That have at least a 25% Hispanic or Latino undergraduate student enrollment. But also if you guys are interested in learning more about like the types of colleges that I have like hyperlinked, I can share that really quickly in the chat. Oh wait, Sarah already did that. Okay, yeah, but if you guys would like to explore more about mission-driven schools or just like different types of colleges, like feel free to like check out that spreadsheet or tip sheet. Okay, great. So now we're going to talk about PWIs. So most colleges are historically or predominantly white institutions, otherwise known as PWIs. And for those who haven't spent time in a predominantly white space, this can create a sense of culture shock. These schools may feel like they center whiteness. Students with various identities may feel that they're like being marginalized on these campuses, but it's also important to remember that every college is different and it has its own unique school culture, and POC students have a broad range of perspectives about and experiences of attending a PWI. So if you're thinking about attending a PWI, look at the college's demographics and read student testimonials to help you find schools that reflect what's important to you. No matter where you choose to go, there will be peers, mentors, and spaces where you can feel support. And also, fun fact, there are over 5,000 colleges and universities in the US, so you have many, many options, and you have much more choice than you did when you were applying to high school. Okay, so moving on, student groups are a great way to find spaces where you'll feel welcome, and this includes student centers like the International Student Services, Disability Resource Center, LGBTQ plus Student Center, Center for Spiritual Life. It can also include student clubs and activities like recreational sports teams, community service initiatives, political student clubs, student-run newspapers, chess club, and it could also include affinity groups like the Rural Students Association, Black Student Alliance, Filipinx Student Organization, Alliance for Immigrant Justice, First Gen Student Union. So let's take a minute to reflect on the question here, and you can like write it down silently or chat it in or send it like to me through private chat, but there's no pressure to share. But what's one interest or aspect of your identity that you want other students at your school to share with you? And we're gonna take like 2 minutes to do that. Okay, so Caitlin said maybe the same interests like games and reading. That's completely valid. Someone said Alliance for Immigrant Justice and Recreational Sports Team. Awesome. I think almost like every college has like their own like recreational sports team. So I'm sure you can find something that you want to join and like will actually have fun in. Alicia says, I want the people in the college I choose to go to have the same passion as I do about what they're interested in and their hobbies. Awesome. Thanks for sharing, guys. So concern number 4 is going to talk about college and how expensive it is. But this is just like an introduction to college financials. We'll have a whole workshop dedicated to college affordability later on. But right now, we just want to provide insights and tips on how you can approach the cost factor while compiling your list of potential colleges.
Oh my God, what is that? Oh my God, what is that?
Okay, hopefully you guys heard it. Like the audio on my laptop is really, really low, but hopefully you guys recognize Cardi B. Anyway, so the figure on the right looks wild at first glance, and this is called the sticker price or full price of Syracuse University, which is a private college. And despite the fact that this is their official cost of attendance, most students never end up paying this entire amount. But looking at this can provide a good example of expenses to anticipate, and we'll break down sticker price on the next slide. Okay. Can I have a volunteer to read this slide, please?
I can read it.
Thanks, Alicia.
Understanding sticker price versus net price versus value. Sticker price, a college's published price, tuition and fees, room and board, etc. Scholarship and grants, merit or need-based aid money that you don't have to pay back. Net price, what you actually pay, typically with loans, savings, and income. Value, educational lifetime advantages each college offers you as compared to the net price you pay.
Thanks, Alicia. Okay. So as Alicia said, if you look at the sticker price of most colleges, especially like four-year colleges, it's a lot. But to be clear, that's rarely the amount that people have to pay for, because your family would have to be pretty like financially comfortable to not receive any sort of financial aid from a college or university. It's important to note that like many students, not just the high academically performing ones, receive scholarships from schools. Yeah, and as you can see, the net price is the actual cost of a college degree. But we're gonna be talking a little bit about loans, as a lot of people are probably thinking about it right now. Okay, so about student loans. For a big percentage of students, student loans are a necessity. These are some strategies for minimizing student loans and college costs. So the first one is just building an affordable list. Yeah, it's just building an affordable list. In our July college affordability workshop, we'll be discussing loans, financial aid, and graduating with as little debt as possible. And student loan forgiveness is actually like a big Supreme Court case right now. So like just a quick show of hands, like literally like the Zoom hands up thing. How many of you guys have heard about the Supreme Court and the student loans / student debt case? Okay, Sarah has her hand raised. I'm also going to raise my hand. If anyone is interested in learning more and like taking action to support student loan forgiveness, you can check out the link that Sarah will be posting in the chat. But it's completely normal to experience a variety of emotions when it comes to like thinking about college financials and student loans. Like some people might feel intimidated by the cost and the prospect of managing debt, while others might feel nervous about like the uncertainties. But it's important to remember that there isn't like a one size fits all approach when it comes to navigating the financial aspect of college. So it's okay to feel a mix of emotions about it, but it's also important to seek information and support to help you make informed decisions, which we can hopefully provide here. Alrighty, so moving on, we're going to talk about like what makes a college affordable. So when you're prepared to construct your list, or if you've already commenced, I think it's really helpful if you guys use this slide as a resource. So there are a variety of list building strategies that can keep the cost of college low. So this means exploring schools that have low sticker prices, including community college, public and state universities, low tuition schools, and also tuition-free schools. They're rare, but I promise they exist. It's also important to just like look for schools that have good financial aid. Like a lot of schools meet 100% of demonstrated need. And there are also colleges that meet 100% of demonstrated need for undocumented students. We can share like the links to this in the slides later. But yeah, there are also schools that offer great academic merit scholarships for high performing students, like schools with large endowments or like schools with full ride scholarships. But yeah. So obviously like it's important to prioritize schools with lower advertised costs and those that meet 100% of need if you are like an undocumented student, because that serves as like a really strong starting point. And also like scholarships will also play a really big role in this process. Great. So now that we've discussed some common student concerns, we're going to take a minute to reflect on our own personal motivations for pursuing higher education. So your why serves as a powerful driving force, providing motivation and resilience, especially when facing challenges along the way. Okay, so now we're going to talk about intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. So stepping back, motivations can either be internal, which is intrinsic, something we feel strongly drawn to and feel fulfillment when we do it, or external / extrinsic, which is something that gets rewarded by those by society, something that like those close to us want for us or seem to expect. So like a really good example of this is like the difference between reading a book because you enjoy it versus reading a book for an assignment. Like both are completely valid reasons to read the book, but studies have shown that internal / intrinsic motivations are more likely to result in goal achievement. It's 100% normal to feel connected and motivated by both internal and external motivators, but it's also important to find a balance between these and know like what's most important to us so that we can make decisions that we'll feel good about and just like stick to in the end. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to our reflection activity, which is exploring your personal why. So it could be helpful to consider things like personal growth and fulfillment, community or service, like how you want to contribute to the world, family, societal expectations. It's perfectly normal if these categories don't all apply. Like when I was applying to college, my motivations were deeply rooted in my desire to explore and expand my knowledge about the world and also myself. I feel like I've always been super passionate about like learning and discovering new things, and I saw college as an opportunity to delve deeper into subjects that fascinated me in an environment where I had like a little bit more control about like course selection and just like pursuing things that genuinely interested me. Okay, and now you guys will have the same chance to do that. So for this, we're gonna do some reflection and writing. There are no wrong answers, and this is just like intended for you guys to like bring deeper awareness to like what you want to get out of college. So I'm gonna give you guys like 4 minutes to do this exercise. Like feel free to like chat it in when you're ready after the 4 minutes. But Caitlin said, I think I want to because it's sort of expected and I want to get a degree, but I also think it will help me understand how to be an adult. Yeah, this is actually like a perfect example of like the intrinsic and extrinsic motivators that we were talking about. But I'm glad that you know, like genuinely, I think, want to go to college, not just because like it's expected, but also because you think you can like learn a lot of important life skills there. Thanks for sharing, Caitlin. So now we're gonna go into breakout rooms. Again, I'm sorry. Share out as you feel comfortable what motivations you highlighted. Introduce yourself, state your name and where you're from in the breakout rooms. Share what stood out to you about your own personal why, and then like which of the motivators you wrote about feels most personally fulfilling. So Sarah's gonna do that right now. Okay, so now we're gonna talk a bit about our personal motivations, and some important things to remember are it's normal to care about both internal and external motivators. What's most important to you is what matters most. Compromise and doing for others is healthy, but only up to a certain point. And your decisions should feel right for you. So even though internal motivators tend to be better motivators, many students place importance on external motivators as well. So for example, if our parents want us to stay close by for college, maybe we'll find a compromise related to housing, city, or distance. But where it becomes imbalanced is when it feels like we're like going against what's truly right for us in order to make others happy. But in order to make decisions that are aligned with what we want for ourselves, we need to get clear on what our top personal motivators are, and these can help guide our decision making and show us where we're willing to compromise and where we're not. So keep reflecting on your personal why and motivators, because next week I'll be reaching out and I'd love to hear from each of you about this or like talk it through if helpful. So in closing, today we've talked about some of your concerns related to college and how some of the most common concerns can be navigated and minimized. You also reflected on your personal motivations for going to college and which of those motivations are most important to you. This is just the beginning of the conversation. We'll be talking a lot more about what kind of college experience you want to have, especially as we start to create your school list. Make sure to attend our next workshop where we'll be talking more about using junior year to get ready for college applications and decisions. And now for the feedback, Sarah's going to post the link for the feedback form in the chat, but your feedback is super, super important to us. And we've updated this workshop based on what students have shared with us last year. So take a minute to do that. And we have like 4 minutes left. So if anyone has any questions or concerns, like feel free to stay behind and we can like chat about it afterwards. But other than that, thank you guys for joining, and you can hop off at any point if you guys don't have any questions. Thanks.